everybody. How is everyone? I hope you're doing well. Hi, chat. It's gonna be a little bit of a different session today. Oh gosh, you know what? I can't see some. Let me fix my overlay real quick. This is fine. There we go. There's our logo. It was gone for a minute. Chat, how you doing this morning? We are doing a Q&A session this morning, because we are down a member, and we've been caffeinated, we've been fed. Um, Once you feed us in the morning, we're basically your problem, chat. So we're here. We're all a little bit queer,
We're here.
and
We're queer.
and we're ready to answer some questions. So yeah, let's talk some TTRPG questions, guys. Satan,
What?
tell us your favorite thing about your own world and why.
It's like when people ask me, it's like, "What's your favorite movie? What's your favorite band?" I'm like, I don't know. Uh, Honestly, my favorite thing about I'm gonna answer this in a few ways. My favorite
Okay.
thing about the world itself, is that we've all been able to kind of create it together. It's a world that's built not just from my imagination, but from all of our imaginations and creativity. So I really enjoy that about the world building aspect. Now, if I was in living in that world, my favorite thing is having a half fae, half material plane in existence because I love that concept so much. Um, when I started this game, I was like, maybe they'll get to that area. Who knows? And then you did, and it became your home base, and it made me happiest I could have ever been because I love it. That's the one place that I've put all my favorite like fae fantasy tropes and aesthetics that I can just fuck around with to no end. Because who's gonna tell me otherwise? Like, oh, you can't be that. I'm like, fucking magic, fucking fae. I don't give a shit. But yeah, I think that's my favorite part. What are your guys' favorite part about this world?
For me, it's definitely that the world, although it deals with a lot of real world situations, you've taken a lot of the real world situations that we don't want to deal with in game, um, out of it in a way that is beautiful. For me personally, the thing that I've always had a problem with in games is there being racism in games for quote unquote realism.
Mm-hmm.
And you've done such a beautiful job of writing it out of your world and giving us cultural aspects of the world that are gorgeous and vibrant and so much more engaging than, oh, orcs are just bloodthirsty monsters. Oh, drow are just evil because they all by default have an affiliation with Loth, which has been recanted by Wizards of the Coast. Good on you, Wizards of the Coast, for finally catching up to our wonderful DM here. Um, but that is
Hey,
honestly, I
I'm
cannot tell
so
you enough
excited. You
how much
guys
I love
have
it.
uh that's one of my favorite things because like I know realistically the way settlements work, I feel there'll be a separation between people, but like I can't really have like there might be places where it's like all these like all humans or all centaurs or all this, and usually even when I do that I add, while the majority may be a certain D&D race, I always add different types of races in there. Like say, like I think this with the centaurs I did, it's mostly all centaurs, but you see a few humans and elves there as well. Like with the way with magic and everything, there's no way for the communities to not be integrated. And I don't have time to be like, oh, you don't look like me, so
Mm-hmm.
you're weird or strange or bad, or I don't have time for that. I really don't.
It's it, it
And
it's one of those things like where people are like, I
yeah.
want realism in my game, so like I don't write out those sorts of things, and I'm like, okay, is everyone exactly like you on your block? Because that's not my realism. My community is very diverse, so like
You
I
want
want.
realism? What's your tax system like?
Tell me, what are your tax deductions in your homebrew world? When do your characters have to file? Do they file once a year? Do they file twice a year? Like, do they have to pay tax? Like, do they pay like a state tax? Does the tax difference like vary from like city to city, country to country? Like, you want to get real with me? Let's
Uh,
sit down and talk tax law.
do
Let's
you,
talk about
Tell
code
you
do
right
you get
violations.
now.
paid? Where's the fantasy OSHA? Do your workers get paid weekly, bi-weekly, once a month? Tell me about that, huh?
I don't
Are
want to
they
talk about
Californian
fantasy
labor
OSHA.
laws or are they Ohio labor laws? Tell me the difference. I want to know.
I don't want to talk about
I
fantasy
may not
OSHA. You've
have.
already fantasy OSHA'd me with dungeon inspectors. Like, you two can just take your
There
fantasy OSHA
is
and
a
go
dungeon
elsewhere with it.
inspector. There is a franchise called Dungeon Inspectors that will inspect your dungeons and make sure it's up to quality, and that all your goblin workers have dental.
I am fighting the urge to flip you both off so hard right now. Let Jen,
Do
why
it.
don't you say your favorite thing about
The
Satan's
world,
World,
yeah.
since we keep talking about it, and
Oh, geez.
then I'll let you two tell the story about what dungeon inspectoring means.
Let's see. My favorite aspects of this world is diversity interjecting with cultural fantasy, bringing those real world elements that influenced by folklore. We do have the Fae, we do have the Twilight Realm, but we have a very um, Celtic tie within the Fae folk. But we also have a very interesting take on food cultures you see around the world, and then you tie into what our characters have brought in. And Anthony brought in a lot of Norwegian and Swedish and uh, Scandinavian influence because that's the culture I wanted to explore via textiles, via foods, via herding culture, via songs. And that was a really awesome aspect. And then Satan brings in with this beautiful culture and with the punks, the drow. And
The
I'm like,
Drowser Punk, yeah.
I'm like, this is one of the best anti-culture aspects I love personally because punk culture is a very awesome culture. I love that aspect. And having that clash against traditionalism in the sense that you have Bloomberry and then you have the anti-culture right up against it and they coexist so well. And the vibing makes me so excited because it can happen and it does happen. And you see the evolution of various cultures expand through that. And then you have a whole new concept of subculture, social culture. And I'm just like, yes, I'm seeing ethnology unfold within the game. And that ticks so many boxes for me as an ethnologist.
It makes me happy because I wanted to bring not only different cultures but different subcultures. And like, what would a culture be if its space was a subculture? What we see as a subculture in the world, like, what would the Drow be if they started because of punk and anarchy and all that, and created their own culture around it, not just subculture? Which you guys have yet to explore because I do like that they are in the Underdark. Um, but
Yeah. I mean,
I'm just so excited. Like, for me, one of my favorite parts is just visualizing the people aesthetically, not
mm-hmm.
physically, but like what would they wear. I came up with the head canon that because also Phoenix, thank you so much for hyping us up even in your sleepy state. We really appreciate it, and we really appreciate you. Um, that because you can find, I've always been a fan of like bioluminescent plant matter, and because you can find that a lot in the underground, it was my headcanon that Drow have used that to make certain bioluminescent hair dyes or makeup or textiles. So you get this punk culture with this aesthetically bioluminescent hair, mohawks with bioluminescent streaks on it, or mushroom like jewelry that is bioluminescent. It's using the nature around it. Like it's, I'm very excited about it. I don't know. I just really like it, and I'm really excited to develop it more and with the core beliefs of what punk is. Uh,
Which is
so
hilarious because it goes against everything Anthony grew up to be.
mm-hmm.
And now he's a drow because of reincarnation. And now he's in this culture that he's like, I'm not a rebellious man, and here we are.
I cannot
You
wait
I
say
love
for
that,
it.
Lucy to
but
go to the Underdark and meet the Drow. She's going to be
I'm
impossible.
excited.
Lucy,
it's
Punk
my
Lucy is just gonna be impossible.
it's my weird take of like punk and some like aesthetic like rave culture.
I love it. Oh man. If you any of you really want to dig into punk culture, 1980s London,
I know.
1970s London.
Oh yeah.
When London wasn't the best, but it was awesome because punk culture rose because of political whatnot, and now we have this awesome culture from it.
It's really funny. I think I realized because um I grew up with a single mom, and my mom, when she was young, her her dad was really like, you know, my grandfather was really, do everything, learn everything. So for her to learn English, what he did was send her to England by herself with like I guess a group, like an exchange group of some sort, at 14 years old. So my mother was in London in England in 1984.
Oh
Uh
wow.
That's amazing.
and I think a lot of that has that kind of like lifestyle that she learned over there has come. I mean, you guys met my mom.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Uh and that has dropped off on me as a person. Um with what I grew up with and the morality that I grew up with. And it's I want to put that in like everything that I grew up with. See, may I
Yeah.
offer Alice Bag and the mostly POC LA punk scene as well? Yeah,
Yes. The
yes.
punk scene out of those two areas really brought this huge cultural wave, and especially in America, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
because I would say both countries, the UK and America, were going through this very rebellious phase, and these cultures just brought out the best in that phase that produced these
Mm-hmm.
awesome waves of music, of clothing, fashion, styles, and concepts and ideas. And just, it's so cool to see how they all merge and are
Yeah.
still affecting us today.
And it's I love looking into that culture, specifically like the POC LA punk scene, because to me you can't have punk without POC, without queer people, without LGBTQ plus people, without women, uh, without intersectionalist feminism. Like it's to me that's where their home is
Mhm.
punk,
It's
because it
all
goes through that.
it's all the people that are told they don't belong
Mhm.
Yeah.
by the rest of society.
And
So
I
they just
yeah,
mean,
make their own
and
space.
yeah.
I've recently
Sci-fi
go
thrives
ahead.
because of women.
Hmm.
Sci-fi thrives because women say, no, this is a place where we can be accepted.
Mm-hmm. And I personally like I've gotten more into as I grew up, like right now in the stage of my life, I'm like fully well embracing punk as a
Mm-hmm.
POC queer woman, and I understand like I know I haven't gone through as much struggles as many of my darker skinned POC women, but like the attractiveness of punk to me is just so inherent and like something that I feel like just magnetically attracted to, not just in aesthetic, but like in core values. And that's something that I always want to input somewhere in my world. And if not generalizing it as a standard all around the fantasy world, it's just something I can create and just build along what I want. Uh, just someplace.
I think that was brilliant to do. It adds such a nice layer to the world that it's not just
Mm-hmm.
like they're you like have built all of these beautiful cultures across the world already, but then you also go the extra step of
Mm-hmm.
adding that subculture aspect to the world of we have our rebels too. They're not necessarily what you think. I can't wait. I can't
Mm-hmm.
wait to go and explore them personally.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
excited for everything that you've discussed with us about what's coming for Nexus. We got
Mm-hmm.
a lot of exploration coming, y'all. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Um,
great. I'm very excited for that.
what is okay? First, I'm gonna let you guys explain what happened with the dungeon inspectoring because it has been mentioned a few times on the channel. We've never fully explained it. But I'm gonna let Satan and Jen explain what they did to me the first time I ever DM'd, ever. And it has become a verb amongst our circle of friends that
To
has
be
bled into other
fair,
communities.
I think it was the best way to introduce you to the true dungeon master experience.
Mhm.
Okay.
First of all,
So
first of all, I have anxiety. Rude. Second of all, go ahead and explain what you actually did. Because I love it. I say
so
it like I'm mad about it, but I'm not. I adored it.
so we were all playing, right? And but mind you, the first room we went into, one of our characters died. We were level one, and it was just a bunch of bats. So we're like,
I
oh, we
killed some.
can't.
It was less than a minute. The player
It was
walked. It
less
was
than a minute into the
yeah.
game.
It was he
So I
games with
walked
me
into the
on
room.
game days. It was Ryan Ryoga. He walked into the room and just died. I feel like I should get a trophy
Yeah,
for that one personally.
yeah. Well, uh, so we're like, okay, shit, we can't really fight everything in this dungeon. And being one of your typical, uh, was this like a yeah? It was like Rick and Morty, I think.
Yeah,
One
it was the Rick and
or
Morty dungeon crawl,
yeah,
the
yeah.
dungeon of wickedness or
So
something.
yeah, and being traditional Wizards of the Coast, obviously it's staffed by goblins because goblins are evil, whatever. According to them. And we're like, we can't fight all these goblins. We're gonna die. So we all came up with the great idea that we were gonna try and lie our way through the dungeon. So what we did is said we were dungeon inspectors, that we were here to inspect the dungeon. We may have gotten through the entire dungeon without fighting anything because we said we were dungeon inspectors.
It didn't help we had very charismatic characters in the group just lying to these goblins.
Yeah.
I think those goblins had like a +0 to their like checks to like roll against your deception check. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
and so because you guys did this, I was committing to the bit as well as the DM. The main monsters I had created voices for, so I then came up with 25 goblin voices.
Yeah, it was
Throughout the dungeon.
great. We told
Fantastic.
them to
It was a long
build their
dungeon too.
own business, get insurance on
Mm-hmm.
it, commit arson and insurance fraud. Uh,
I did invite you to the table,
we
Arthur.
asked,
That's
it's like, you
correct.
don't even get dental.
Hmm.
You don't get
The
insurance. What is this? Where's your PTO? Where's your vacation time? Where's your
We
retirement
basically
plan?
hmm
unionized this entire
Yeah.
dungeon.
That's true. That is true. You unionize the goblins, and the goblins, not being of high intelligence in this particular dungeon, have all eaten the treasure. So, like, you're supposed to kill them. So, I think you guys maybe got like 2 gold by the end of, by the end of the 30-room dungeon that you went through.
Listen. Yeah, when in doubt or in danger, bullshit. We did. I think that's what you need to expect from a table is the unexpected.
It is.
You plan for something, and then they take the like a very sharp turn that you did not know was there or was even possible.
And then
Yep.
and
Yep, I
then
learned that lesson real hard.
yeah, and then later you run that same group with the addition of a couple new players through another encounter, and you just stuff a room full of gibbering mouthers so that it takes them about 30 minutes to finally actually land a hit on something as punishment. Gibbering
Poor
mouthers.
Matt. He's just like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Gibbering mouthers. The monster you didn't know could be deadly. But yeah,
Matt wants to play with us again because of the gibbering mouthers.
yeah.
That's true.
But yeah, so
If
this
you
is
guys
what
are viewers, you can ask questions as well, and we'll answer them.
yeah, feel free to ask us
If not, we're
questions,
just gonna
y'all.
talk amongst ourselves. Sunday
So
morning.
so that's what dungeon inspectoring means. And could you both please tell the number of times you have used it at other tables to explain your actions to other DMs?
I can't count anymore.
I've lost count.
I've lost count. And every time I get to tell the story, and it just makes me happy.
It makes me happy to hear it over and over again. It does. What's something that we've done in Nexus that was a total like curveball for you? Oh, thank you for the groan, Max.
Shit, I don't fucking know. I'm trying to remember, but I don't have great memory. Shit.
Well, you can think about that
My
for a little
brain
bit.
just went blank. What did she? Yeah.
Phoenix
I'll
Fem
think
asked,
about that for a second.
Phoenix Fem asked, question for the group: what is your favorite element to dig into when you explore a world someone has made? Food, clothing, music, architecture. I would say all of the above, because that all goes into the different cultures that someone puts in their homebrew world. I don't. If I focus in on any one two area, for me personally, if I focus in on any one thing too much, my ADHD brain like loses interest. But if I get like a nice whole nice sandwich picture of the culture all together, and I can create a image in my brain of what it looks like where my character is at based off those words, that's what I love most about people's homebrew worlds, or or pre-written worlds in general. I like that nice little like egg sandwich from it's like that egg sandwich in Birds of Prey. Like that's like a visualization of like that for me. I'm also very hungry right now.
I would have
Sorry.
to say, go get a snack.
But I have you all right here.
I would just have to say, for immediate response on visual cues, and when I see this being described, I like to go architecture first, followed by clothing, then sight, smell, so food, and music. It would be in that basic order because it's more of immediate response of like you're stepping off the train in London. What do you see first? You see the London Eye. You see Parliament. You see St. Peter's, or not St. Peter's, St. Paul's. You see the Millennial Bridge, and then you smell the horrible things that come from the River Thames, and you're just like, this was nice up until that point. And then you'll notice clothes, and then you'll notice the chestnuts that are roasting by the river that you're like, oh, these look good in concept. They do not taste good in concept, but
Mm-mm.
hey, they smell
Mm-mm.
good in concept.
Yeah, I would
And
have to say.
those
Go
are my
ahead,
favorite.
finish. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
No, continue.
Oh, I don't have anything to
Oh, I was just gonna agree with you, and say it's probably that order for me because it's kind of like from biggest to smallest. So the biggest thing you'll notice is the architecture. Um, I try to make it as different as I can, but also my morning brain is not that great, as you can tell.
Your morning brain is
And try to
wonderful.
use different
say.
We love your morning brain.
different thanks. Try and use different colors because I feel like you can tell so much by like a color palette because that can give you insight of the general feel of the town. So I use a lot of pinks and purples and blues for fae and fantasy, like in the Twilight Court, specifically because they were also to me Twilight colors. Um, but that kind of gives you like if you were immersed into that world, that gives you the sense of fantasy, of wonder, of fairies and fae, and in opposed to that, I made uh the yes, Mushroom Town and Pokemon. Basically, that's actually the Underdark. Actually,
Mhm.
it's Mushroom Town and Pokemon. And the Kingdom of Kalish, the capital, I made it very not industrial, but kind of like it doesn't have the softness and curves that the architecture in the Feywild or like the Twilight Realm has. It's a lot more while the architecture in the Twilight Realm, I made it so it's almost a immersion of man-made structures and natural structures, specifically with the design elements that they use. It's very curved, very um, light and airy. While for Kalish, the kingdom, the capital, where the palace is, whose name is escaping me, Valet. Um, it's much more straight lines, edges, sand colors, some blues reminiscent to like the ocean that's next to it, grays, whites. It's a lot more toned down. It's not as bright and vibrant. So I kind of focus on the architecture and the color palettes, and that gives a general feel. And from that, you can kind of like put the people in there and give them a style and clothing around that type of weather and style that surrounds it because architectural style influences fashion style and vice versa. Um, so you're not really when the effect when words when you have a culture the way I do it, I don't know, I can't 100% say this is how it is in every culture in the world throughout the ages, but when you have a style of that culture architecturally wise that is very straight and hard edges, more man-made, and a slight tint of industrialism to it, you're not really going to have a lot of frills uh, in that fashion because it kind of clashes with the environment that you're in, and so all these softer clothing are going to be left to at least to me I kind of like to match are going to be left to like more decorative cultures because if you don't live in something that's highly decorated, you wouldn't highly decorate yourself because that's not what's seen as the normal. At least that's how I visualize. This is my own thought process. This is my mind map that I am giving to you guys.
No,
But I
that
could
makes
be wrong.
sense.
You could do it that way. I'm not saying this is the one way to do it. Like you could have like Rococo style dresses and like an industrial London era, like however you want. Like
Hmm.
you can do whatever the fuck you want, really. This is how my mind processes it.
No, that makes sense
Hmm.
because to be rebellious, especially in the UK, is to wear colors, is to wear bright colors, minus high vis colors in the dead of winter. But the punk culture is bright oranges, bright blues, yellows, something that is counter contrasting with the surroundings because it's
Mm-hmm.
a very, in a lot of the cities, it's a very monochromatic color because
Mm-hmm.
it's usually based off of one stone or one type of architecture. And the youth, if you especially within the parks, the skate parks and punk parks, West Banks and stuff like that, you will see youths that have colors and words and very anti proper straightforward culture. It's
Mm-hmm.
counterculture with a great respect to the old culture.
That's what I like. That's going back to the drow, and even though you haven't explored it, one of the main reasons I was like, I want to make it so different is because when you look at the lore in it, it's very red and monochromatic in a way, and this really stringent and very dangerous hierarchy based on an evil goddess, And I'm like, what if something like that happened, but there was a group of people that said, no, fuck this. We're going to overthrow this. We don't want to do this anymore. And instead of living under the shoe of this sort of culture that oppress the majority of its people and other races, we're gonna make it like, no, that was overthrown by people who rebelled against it. It is now their culture now is based on rebellion. Uh, to be whoever they are. Not everyone will dress punk. The point of it is to live your life how you want to, and respect others. So that is what I wanted to do with that culture. That's me. I'm gonna zone out soon, so uh yeah. But one question I would like to ask: what is your favorite NPC that you've met?
Oh gosh.
Not guest players, but
Right.
NPC.
Um I don't have a favorite. Um like obviously like the knee jerk I was gonna say it's Navarra, but yeah, like I mean like there's the characters that we have like
Yeah, there's
our
a love
characters have
interest.
a
Yeah.
yeah, like our love interests, like our deeper emotional connections. I think those characters that I spend the most time with are definitely like top tier,
Mm-hmm.
because Jack is helping Lucy realize a softer side, and her patron is helping her realize her own power, and they're both and all three of them are like supporting one another and helping each other grow. Um, Fanor is also in that scenario with Lucy as well. He's been a huge influence. He's the one who actually brought her to the court where her entire life has changed. Um, but I think like other than like the ones that we are constantly interacting with,
Yeah.
um, I think yeah, I would agree with RJ. I think Mickelson Silverhorn is a lot of fun. Who That's how we got the Anarchist Cookbook in our world. Uh, on an offhand
It's
comment from Jen that he was the rebel.
hilarious.
I
We
really
never see him, and yet he's like, we're gonna go be an anarchist.
He's in every single homebrew world that we play in now. He is all over the place. He's like Cher. Um, but I really enjoy him and the mythology we've built around his character without necessarily interacting with him. I really enjoyed Alessandra, the witch in the woods hag type character that we met. I liked her so much that I built another character that works with her for a different game that I played in, because I wanted to sit down and talk about her more with Satan one night. So that's how my character, my Hexblood Druid, who's a baby hag, like a hag in training, was created based off of just building off of Alessandra's personality and mythos. Of course, I love Navarra. I was so excited that RJ was like, "Yeah, Navarra's coming to court. It's gonna be great." I was like, "Yes." Um, Honestly, I think if I had to pick one though, it would be Peanut. Like that is like my that has been the most that little NPC animal has been the best animal to create. We have a stat block for him now, by the way, everyone.
Yeah.
He has
It's gonna be
stats.
great.
He has a natural 20 in charisma.
Puppy dog eyes. Hello. What about you, Jen?
It's gonna be really funny, but Bryce, mainly because
Bryce?
I enjoy the antagonistic relationship Anthony has with Bryce, even though it's very one-sided on his end.
Oh yeah, and the thing it's similar to Mickelson where we've only interacted with them like maybe twice or three times,
Yeah,
but
I
you
just
but
have
love
this whole
I love how
mythos.
antagonistic he is towards Bryce. And Bryce is like, "I'm just here. Shut up."
yeah. But I really like Bryce. Anthony's former doctor lover. Anthony has a bit of a rivalry with him, and I really like that.
Oh, Fanner's
Mickelson,
former ex,
yeah,
like his ex boyfriend,
mhm,
Doctor Strut.
Yeah,
yeah, Doctor
Dr.
Strut.
Strut was really cool. I love
I
Yeah,
really
Dr.
like
Strut.
Doctor Strut.
I like making
Mickelson,
Wichita characters. If you
yeah.
haven't noticed.
Mickelson, even though we never see him, I enjoy the mythos around him so much. It's like, yeah, no, he's really fun. I really like this thing we propped up against him and never actually went and actually talked to him.
No, you met him once, and he was pretty proper when you met him.
Oh
Like
yeah,
all things considered.
yeah.
Um,
It's so funny to see like, yeah, I painted him a very proper thing, and they're like, no, he's an anarchist, will rebel against his family, and just makes my day.
um, yeah,
And Soon's always a good one,
What
just
are
that's
because
fair.
he's he's a little monster and I love him.
I love
what are
him.
some of your favorite NPCs that we've interacted with? Like
Oh,
what
jeez.
NPC like not I mean I know like we've talked a lot about off camera like what you really enjoy, but like even the ones that we don't interact with much, like do you have some favorites in the world?
Um, it's not really an NPC because she was my character from a different game. I won't spoil it, but Lady of Twilight, I fucking love her. Um,
Lady of Twilight's so cute.
and I actually really like Alessandra. And I'll tell you the story of her actually came from one of Jen's game. I will say I might rat you out on your last minute in implementation of things, but what happened was I was watching one of Jen's games live on Val's channel, and there was something about a mushroom called Queen Killer, and while she was DMing, we were talking. While she was DMing live on Twitch, we were talking, and I was like, "Hey, that'd be cool. This could be happen. There could be like a thing, like a hag or a witch that's a poison maker that is like really good. And her name is Alessandra. She lives in the woods, stuff like that." And that's kind of how she came about. And I was very excited when I actually saw that she implemented into the game. And then I created her because I've always loved these witch in the woods hag style creatures. Um, and I wanted to create a helpful one. She's helpful to the right people because she can be classic hag, trick you into whatever it is that you want. But I think it was the way she was approached by you guys for the first time that decided her attitude towards you. where she was like, "Hey, we're your temporary neighbors. We're both camping out in this strange jungle."
And we mostly went over there with like soup or something.
Yeah, with like food. Uh, and that is what, because I was gonna, depending on what you guys did and how you interacted with her the first time, was gonna set the scene for or like the ball rolling for how she reacted towards you guys. So being like, "Hey, we're your temporary members. Here's the pie." um, so that was interesting, and she has a lot more mythos, and I have a lot more story for her, and she will be back whenever you guys need it. She's one of those characters that appears when you most need her. uh so I love her. What else? Who else do I like to play as?
I
I
really
love
like
Jackie. Uh-huh.
I really like that you let us dictate how she would treat us. I think that's one of my other favorite things about your world is that you don't do like default alignments like one person is one thing. I love how multifaceted all of your NPCs are and they can treat us one way based on our treatment of them,
Mm-hmm.
but they may be treating someone else totally different based on how that person is treating them. And I think that just makes them, I mean, obviously they're not human, but it humanizes them a little bit
Yeah.
more.
Yeah. I like having that because
Mm-hmm.
there will be. I think that's one of the more realistic things that I implement into my world and my NPCs, that uh, many of them will react to you accordingly to how you react to them, and then many of them will have obviously a set preconception, a set personality. Um, so that to me is something I like um, to add into there. What else? I love Jack. He's a sweet boy. Uh, Fanner's always right. I just love so many of my NPCs. I think no, I love playing as Navarre because I love the whole like she's very peppy. And very happy-go-lucky type of person. So I'm always happy to play her. I know I'm just mentioning like a lot of different NPCs, but it's kind of like I don't know. I like a lot of my characters. There's one that you haven't met in game that was in a separate session. If you're on Discord, we have extra. Oh yeah, I played Titus's sister.
That was a rough episode.
That was a rough episode.
Oh boy.
Uh,
We were all emotional after that one.
it's not my fault. Titus was like, "Here's my sister's ghost. I'm gonna stab her with my sword."
Yeah, we probably shouldn't leave that one alone for too long. We need supervision still.
Okay. I'm not gonna lie. I like breaking you guys' heart. I like getting you guys emotional. Not in the bad way, obviously. And I like that you guys let me do these and make you feel those feelies. Um, but yeah, I don't forget what I was gonna say, but I love. Oh, there was this one character that you guys have yet to meet in the live stream. It's been in one of the recorded extra episodes, and it's Sybil. Uh,
Sybil's really cool.
Sybil is a drider, and she is a fashion designer. She has 4 arms, and a spider body, and many eyes, and I love her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for those who don't know, we do also have a Discord. I'll throw the link up in chat now. But we, as a little thank you to the people who help me, and in all facets of this channel, not just on our Nexus Adventures stuff, but who help us raise money for charity every week. And whenever we do charity events, they show up in droves to donate and help us make better changes in the world. We do release bonus content for y'all as our characters. I believe we are working on our 4th bonus session that
Yeah.
we're posting just on the Discord. So if you want access to stuff like that, come on over and you'll get some free audio sessions, and
Yeah,
you can ask us
it's
more questions there.
more personal stuff
Mhm.
that I do usually one-on-one with characters and players, so you can kind of get a little bit more of that personal life that we're not really showing on stream, because I do want to keep it we all like keeping it like not just focus on one person for too long. I think 3 of them have been with Sarah, because she has requested a lot of them, and I kind of do them by request of the
Mhm.
players.
I've done 2. Jen's done 1, and our 4th one is the group one.
Oh,
we're
this is
doing
our
now.
4th. Yeah, you've done 2. Jen's done 1, and our 4th one kind of has all the players in them that we're working on right now. So you know, I'm very big as a DM of like, if my players want to have a moment, uh, have this part of them showed and develop that relationship, or not just romantic but just character relationship, um with other characters and other players. Let's sit down whenever we have free time. Let's talk about it. Let's see how the characters are played. We kind of like just put that out as bonus content. You get to know, open their diary, see what they're doing.
Yeah. The 2 I did, the I think it's the first one that you and I did. We did Lucy took someone on a date for the first time ever. It was Jack. So I got to DM partially for Satan because I created the sushi restaurant in town.
Yeah. The first one was you having a girls' night out with the Lady of Twilight.
Oh, that's right. It was Lady Twilight first, yeah. But the Lady of Twilight one, between the 2, is definitely my favorite one, because they've grown so much in their relationship. They've gone from like boss and warlock to like gal pals that just happen to run a business together. like if it was in the real world, they have an Etsy shop together.
Yeah, and there's actually extra lore and content in there. There's a lot more. Uh, you you. I dropped some Lady of Twilight lore in those games.
We learned quite a bit in that session about the Lady of Twilight, so I highly recommend, if you have a Discord, coming and checking them out. They're really great. And then the Anthony and Fanor one that you did with Jen. I started crying when I was editing it. It's so sweet.
What happened in that one? You got married in game.
Like, yeah, he got married in game. It was Anthony basically saying, "Hey, I don't feel part of the court, and this is why."
Yes.
It was exploring a lot of his trauma response, more or less, to the world, and how he's dealing with the corruption that is now seated within him, and how he's struggling to find a purpose in a court he's very unfamiliar with.
It was a really beautiful conversation between 2 partners, unconditionally supporting one another.
It was nice.
Yeah. I'm having morning brain, so I don't remember the entire thing. But I what I do remember specifically is it was very emotional, and I was very happy with the way it was, because in these types of extra, I let my parents kind of like run things how they want to do it as well. Like I said, one of them is Lucy taking Jack out on a date. So she kind of ran a little bit for me. Which leads that into another question.
Do folks ever offer to run games for you to play in Satan? As like a chance for you to play every now and then. Please tell the audience how many games you play in as a player.
I'm DM for her 2 of these multi-purpose games. Both of her characters are very beautiful. 3 of her characters, as she switched over temporarily to another character in a game, homebrew game. Let's see, what else are you in, Satan? Tomorrow we're in a game together.
Yeah, I don't know. I know all of your schedules. Do you know mine? Oh,
no, because you're I just assume that unless you are asking me to hang out, you are in a game.
Yeah.
I think at one point she was in like 11 or 12 games.
Yes.
Yes. I had a lot of free time, so I was studying from home, and RPGs have been my way of connecting with people. 2D RPGs have been my way of connecting with people, so I did um, playing a lot of them. I am starting to subside because I was starting to feel kind of like that burnout, like game burnout.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I don't have a super lot of them stream right now. Stream wise, I have Thursday nights, which is masks. Um, two on Saturday. Yes, I am the player. This is the one game I DM actually. It's the other way around. I have two stream games on Saturday and two on Sunday. So my stream games are mostly left to weekends because I do have other things to do during the week, unfortunately. But I do have some home games during the week that for me it's easier than a stream game because if I just don't feel well or just don't have the
Mm-hmm.
energy for it, I know there's no pressure like, well, we have a schedule to keep up. We have, it's very easy and relaxed. So I
There's a
think I have
different energy
currently,
around home games.
yeah,
Mhm.
currently I have one, two, three, just three home games. Because I was in another one,
Mm-hmm.
but we had to put that on pause for scheduling conflicts. I didn't want to continue without the player because it was already like four of us. So it's a smaller group than we usually do. Um, and I just haven't taken on. I've been offered other stream games that I would love to take, but I am about to start in-person classes, and I'm in my
Mm-hmm.
last two semesters of college of university. So as much as I want to take on all the games because I like meeting new people, um, I had to stop myself and also to stop the burnout from happening. So they've been reduced now to only one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I'm in 5 games right now. Our Wednesday game is currently on hiatus, so I'm in 6. I'm that player who's a player in every game, though. Jen's our forever DM at the table, in case anyone was wondering.
Yeah.
She
I
DMs 2
like
of the
being
6 games
DM.
I'm in.
Yeah. I do
Yeah.
love enjoy. I do enjoy DMing. I do enjoy being a player. It's a fun balance between the two because you get to see what other DMs get to do and you get to see what your players are gonna bring to the table. So far, I think my most exciting aspect to the game on Tuesday is you guys, bringing in multiple things I didn't plan for, such as another blue dragon into the party. That
You
still
gave
has
us
me all kilter.
baby, and so we
I was like,
adopted him.
you don't leave it alone. It's a blue dragon. They're not gonna adopt it. Well, fuck me. Now
They
they have a
were
blue dragon.
wormling. They were baby. Jesus Christ.
It's a blue dragon, guys. You shouldn't, touch it. Yeah.
Well,
This
you
coming from the person who wants to adopt a baby whatever in
Remora.
every single game.
Baby
Rimaraz, Roper,
Riverazes are,
Mimics.
Ropers are adorable. Riverazes are
Yeah,
cute.
RJ's right. You give us baby all the time. Literally all the pets we have on our Saturday.
Yeah,
Luckily,
yeah.
my characters have gotten very good at rehoming the pets that Jen tries to give me.
It's like they did a good job. They're not ready for a level up. Here's something cute they can admire. Maybe leave alone, not adopt an entire horde.
You
Just give us
gave
health
me
potions.
you gave me a baby purple worm. You gave me a dog. You gave us an egg for a blue dragon, but we couldn't adopt the one that was already born.
Wondering
Yeah,
if
Jen gave
you.
my character a blue dragon egg, and my character was like, "Oh hell nah, I ain't dealing with this."
Yeah.
So I asked, "Where can I go to rehome this thing?" I don't know if you already had that like person who like raises dragons that have been like orphaned from their moms already, but I'm so glad that Morgan does not have to deal with raising a blue dragon.
Hunters existed in the world. He raises dragons, regardless of their chromatic, metallic, or non-metallic,
Yeah.
non-chromatic origins.
Can you
I
can you can you tell us a little bit about that in your world? I thought that was a really cool. From Jen runs a world called Ashenfell, and she has some really neat things in her world as well. Can you tell us a little bit about that farmer and his
Yeah,
dragon
I
daughter?
was I was inspired by a story another player, another group had told me. It's like I really like the concept of somebody raising up baby dragons, regardless of their background, origins, or alignments to Tiamat or Bahamut, whatever. Like I thought that was really neat. Then I put Hector into the world, and he raised a little black dragon and changed the alignment from a black dragon evil coded to more of a metallic opalesque or obsidian type dragon. So I was exploring alignment changes with Hector via dragons. And I was like, well, if I can code it this way, if I can make an NPC explore that concept, I can have other NPCs explore that concept, which is where the basis of raising up various dragons of various alignments came from. And it wouldn't matter to Hector who adopts these creatures of very powerful and renowned backgrounds as they're just like us. They deserve to be treated as normal and as respectfully as possible, and then they can be put back into the world when they're ready. So Hector takes in all kinds of dragons and just loves them unconditionally and teaches them that they can be something more than just what they are. And that's where the black dragon changed alignment from being a chromatic to a metallic dragon.
I love that. I love that whole story arc we did.
It was a moment I didn't think was going to pop up, but I'm glad it popped up. Uh,
Hmm.
it was sweet.
What advice would both of you give to new DMs? Because you all gave me some really great advice when I ran my first game, even though you were absolute noodles and made it hell for me at the time. But what advice would you guys give?
my first advice would be like you can't plan for everything, so don't. You can't plan for everything, so don't. Just have you can overplan. That is a thing you can do. Um I'm not. I know different DMs have different styles. If that is your style and it's worked for you, go ahead. But yeah, don't overplan because your players will always find a way to, like RJ said, left hook you. Um, because remember, one of the things I always say to new DMs, and I'm not the most experienced DM, but you're creating a story with your players. You're not writing a novel and them being characters in your story. You will not one of my favorite things to always, or one of the things I always emphasize is, and that I've learned from Jen as a DM, is player agency is what is the most important. So this is me giving you Jen's advice that she gave to me basically. Um, let your players do what they want and let them lead the story. Put little plot hooks, put, the overarching plot that you want. But they're in the end they're gonna explore what they want to explore and they're gonna do what they want to do. Yeah, you also let us adopt a new Blake, so shut the fuck up,
Well, I
Jen.
thought you were gonna just unleash it back into the dungeon. Its natural home.
I
No,
mean,
now.
RJ did the
He
same thing,
said
so he doesn't
he
have. I
said
think RJ's talking about the one we adopted in his game. I
Well,
know.
yes,
I've
Oh,
Steve is
that's
adopted
true.
two Ubluxes
beautiful.
now.
Yeah.
I named
Uh
the one in RJ's game Steve.
yeah.
It's not a very
Uh
it's not a good Ublux name, but it's the first one that
no.
came to mind.
Uh
Mhm.
yeah, that my brain turned left to say. So that's my
Mhm.
advice to you for now.
Hmm.
Mhm. I would say, yeah, player agency is always a good one because honestly, D&D and most TCRPG games are collaborative, and
Hmm.
storytelling is collaborative, and I've always based my philosophy in gaming on if a story is collaborative, it needs to be collaborative on all levels. That includes players.
Yeah.
And it's one of the best things I've adopted into my playstyle because it's improv, it's creativity, it's exploration and new ideas and concepts, and creates more of a diverse and rich world, in my personal view. And I'm very comfortable with my players burning down my world because, in the end, I can just build it back up with a new story, new concept, same setting, and let the players that are taking on new characters rebuild the world they've burned down. And it's okay because recreation is the best concept to creativity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you can set up the train tracks, the basis of where they're going to be going for the story that you are telling as a DM, that you are helping guide, more, I should say. Uh, but let them get to those points how they want to get to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not just like, I'm not just going to sit here and be like, okay, this is the world. What do you want to do? I will have plot points. I will have things that you guys can hook. But that's the point. That you have to make it something that the characters will pick up and be like, hey, I like this is interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
Uh like if I have a character like Lucy, say, I'm not gonna be like the what plot hook I want you to focus on is going to be in
Mm-hmm.
this super happy hippie commune, or like this something that is completely outside of her interest. You have to take something that'll like grab you, that character's attention, uh like, what I want you to focus on the last ball. I was like, hey, make a perception check. You see someone watching you. That's all I had to
I
do.
can't wait for us to play again. I want to go talk to that NPC. Oh my god.
Yeah.
If
Who's
they're
staring
still
me down?
there. Um,
Yeah. I would
but
also
yeah,
say
Mhm.
have a basis of reality.
Yeah.
You need to have that real world connection in a fantasy connection because your players become invested. They're like, I recognize this from the real world. How is it applied to this world?
hmm
And if they can build off of that concept and connect to that concept, they are interested, they're invested, they want to know more. And when you don't have brain power, let them build an entire culture. Because I
Mm-hmm.
definitely did not have brain power to build the gnomish society and let Sarah take it over. I'm letting Sarah and Satan build the Shatterkai society because I
Mm-hmm.
just don't have brain power to do it
Yeah.
at this time in my life.
I
you
think
created
And it's fun.
Blueberry.
I
Yeah.
think
I didn't create
I think it
Blueberry.
comes a little bit from like running like people who play in a lot of modules where there's a sense of like you do A so B happens and you do B so C D and E can
Mhm.
possibly happen depending on what choice B is. I
Mhm.
think I think there's many different ways to homebrew a world. I've played in multiple people's homebrew worlds, and also Phoenix Fem. I see what you say, talking about like one shots and stuff. We're talking about like on a larger scale than a one shot, because in a one shot you do have to go from A to B to C in the one shot, to complete that game. That's the point of it. But when you're dealing with like a homebrew world, I think some DMs have a lot of trouble letting go of the control that something like a module gives a DM, and I think that's where there's a lot of room for growth in the community, because the way you guys let me as a player just play in the sandbox of your world and do what I want, I still go and I still hit those plot hooks that you leave out for me, but there's also things that my character wants to do for themselves,
Mhm.
or that have absolutely nothing to do with the plot. I mean, I don't need to have a romance that has nothing to do with the plot.
Mhm.
But being able to do those things on the side gets me so much more invested in the world, to have
Mhm.
Lucy have a relationship with Jack, to have her. You'll see what she's off doing in the bonus episode that we're recording right now with RJ and Jen and Satan. Um, those side things, those side bits of her story that have nothing to do with any of the rest of the world, make the world so much more real for me and so much more engaging for me than if I'm just going from point A to point B.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
Because
I mean, it's fantastic. It's beautiful, and
you don't have to cast magic path on everything, but here we. Hey, okay, so and that's another thing. RJ in chat is talking about what my character in his homebrew world did, where I play a spunky little troublemaker named Delilah. For any of you who have seen her on TikTok, RJ is the DM who has to deal with me there. Uh, but she on our level up, when I got to pick another bard spell, I looked at the options and I said, this is a character that has absolutely no business being in combat and is literally in it for the lulz. She cares about her friends. She wants to make money. But ultimately, she's a screw up, and this is entertainment for her, basically. She's living out her fantasy of being a hero. So what would the party screw up do? She already has healing spells, so she doesn't need that. She has bardic inspiration she gave people. She's gonna take something that's just for her, which is the magic mouse spell, because she can play pranks on her party with it. And that's something that leans in heavily into her character. And RJ, thank you so much for letting me be a little shit in that campaign.
Which apocalyptic dystopia do you think is most likely?
in the real world, the cyber one, not cyberpunk, because that's not cyberpunk, but like where everything.
Terminator.
Yeah.
I think something integrating technology into our lives in an even more intrusive way is far more likely than anything else. Yeah.
Full Logan's Run.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we
Sort of
already
thing.
have Alexas and stuff that
Yeah.
it has
Yeah.
been said people do listen in on our conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And
Black
stuff.
Mirror. Like, it's only
Black
one step.
Oh.
Yeah, Black Mirror reality is what I think we're heading towards.
That makes me scared. But you know what doesn't make me scared? You guys, because we
Oh gosh. You just
I just
activated
activated
my
Chris.
Alexa. Oh, we got a compliment each other reward.
Each other. That's what I was heading to.
Yeah.
I was trying to make a segue. It's your channel. You start.
Oh gosh. Okay. Satan, you have come so far as a storyteller and a DM that it is absolutely astounding. From the days when you were just scared to put together the runs where we were doing a one shot as these characters, to confidently creating your own stories, having your own ideas, telling us to shut up and get out of your ears when we're offering suggestions. I am so proud of you for how far you have come as a storyteller and as a DM and as a player. Your confidence has grown so much over the today would have been session 94. We have been doing this for 94 sessions, and your growth has been astounding. And it has been an absolute honor to sit here and watch. And Jen, thank you for constantly bringing a vibrant character. I adore Anthony so much. I didn't know how he would interact with my character because we were both playing standoffish little shits at the start of this, and being up for the yes and with Lucy time and time again has been so much fun. And getting to develop this relationship with you as a character has been another highlight of this game for me. All right. Now one of you has to go. That's how this works. I'm gonna pick if one of you doesn't start.
You pick.
All right. Because she doesn't want to go so bad, I'm gonna make Satan go next.
I didn't say I was stretching. It's not that I didn't want to go so bad.
Yeah, sure, yeah. Uh-huh.
It's 11 a.m. This is usually when I'm waking up, okay?
Phoenix Femme, no, you're being awesome. No Q.
Fun is always awesome. So
Always.
she never stops. Um, Sarah, thank you so much for being. I think we're almost like each other's assistant in a way. Thank you so much for helping me grow as not only a DM with your suggestions as a player and as a storyteller, but also as someone who's always cheered me on with every endeavor I take on, my art, my DM, real life situations. Thank you for creating such a vibrant character. I know I stole your words, but vibrant character, yeah, such a complex character that has so many different facets that I get to play off of. Just thank you for being you. You're awesome. Never change. You are such an amazing friend to have. And I feel sad for people who don't get to be your friend, but also happy because you're my friend. Um,
You can selfishly request all of my free time. I will give you that.
yes, I do that. And you're just an amazing person overall. You with Jen and some of my other friends, you guys have been my number one cheerleaders since we've met. Basically, it was so easy to become your friends. And Jen, thank you so much for inspiring me, not only as a player but as a DM, for being the DM that I want to be, and just always being there for me, not only as a DM and as a player, but as a friend. How many times I have been like, hey, you want to hang out, I'm going to do some art, and we just sit there quiet for hours just enjoying each other's presence while we do everything. Thank you for being a cheerleader in my side as well. Uh and uh you are such an amazing storyteller and character creator, and just an amazingly creative person that I hope to get to the same level as you are. And thank you for always inspiring me. I really appreciate it. You both are amazing, and I love you guys so very much. And I would not be where I am without you guys. I can 100% confidently say that.
No. Well, damn. That is exceptionally nice, and I'm so thrilled you think so confidently and highly of me. I have to say, I am truly honored to have you both as my friends, and truly gifted to have you come into my life through various means, whether it's by losing your arm in a game or thinking I can make a very cool mobster boss to your character. It's been a whirlwind journey that I've enjoyed thoroughly as a person. And to Satan, thank you for letting me be a goblin child in various games and letting me explore sides of me I didn't know I wanted to explore until I was confident and safe enough in a space I could. And feeding me cultural information I wasn't aware of or privy to that expanded my worldview all that much more and made my life that much richer. It's been a journey and I've loved every step of it. And with Sarah, seeing you blossom from a newbie player to this amazing storyteller within your own right, it's been a gift to just witness and enjoy as a DM, as a player, as a person who's gone from what is this person going to do to I can't wait to see what they do next. It's been wonderful to see that unfold and unfurl before me. It's something I look forward to each and every time I witness your playthroughs or games and confidence.
And TikToks.
And TikToks that have grown so exponentially and wonderful. Seeing you from where you were to where you are, it's beautiful. Both of you, it's beautiful.
I
We're
know you
all
all can't
beautiful.
tell right now because I have so much foundation on, but my face is like hot and red underneath all of this, and my eyes are watering. I love this reward so much, but my friends regularly make me cry. And RJ, I know you're lurking in chat, so to compliment you as well, thank you for being such originally and a wonderful guest for so long on Nexus with us. We greatly enjoyed Titus, and I'm so happy that we're revisiting him again. Thank you for bringing us Rollin, who has been an absolute joy to work into the party, and for always being down for our yes ands and our ridiculous BS that we bring to every table with you. You guys, you three are you guys are all the greatest people I could possibly have in my life. I love you all.
RJ is a big inspiration to myself.
I wish he could be
The
here
way
too, but he has no internet.
Like, he has no internet, but the way he just let me just say the way he is so creative and innovative with just the basic like things that you have in D&D, like it's just amazing. I always love when people are like, well, can I do this? But he just takes it to a whole new level, and I love it. He's just amazing, and I love having him as a player, as a friend. I think this game has really brought our friendship together with me and RJ, and it's just amazing. And he's just an amazing, creative, inspiring person, and such a big fan of all his friends. It's amazing.
Yeah, I will say.
Also, thank you for the follow.
Yeah, thanks so much for the follow, y'all.
The love brings more love.
It does. I honestly, when I say I couldn't do any of this without you guys, I couldn't. This show is basically the foundation of the channel. Like I played video games with people online, but it's where everything started. It's how the people that are on the screen are your community leaders. They're your moderators. I can't tell you how hard Satan, RJ, and Jen work to make this a safe and inclusive channel, and to make sure that I am always doing the right thing, and that they always hold me accountable for things, and that we make sure that everyone is safe and having fun here. Thank you all for all of the hard work you have put in around this game, this silly little game that we get to play called D&D every week, and the more serious things that we have building off behind the scenes. I appreciate you all so much. But now that we've showered each other with love, I think that's a good place for us to take a 10-minute break. So that we can go off camera and say all the things that we don't like about one another and just hate on each other for a little bit, and then come back and love each other.
Yeah, we're just gonna shit talk a little bit about each other.
It's fine.
So, thank you for redeeming that. That is one of my favorite redemptions on this board. Which chat did suggest I put in. So thank you, chat. Phoenix Femme, we will answer that question when we come back from break. Stay tuned, y'all. We'll be back in 5 to 10 minutes. Don't go nowhere unless
put more questions in there.
Unless it's to grab a drink, grab a friend, call someone important to you and tell them that you love them today. Or if you need the reminder, this is your reminder to go take your meds. We love you all. Everybody wave. Be right back. Bye.
Be back.
Alrighty, chat. We are back. Thank you. My dog really had to go outside, so there was no sticking around for that question. But Phoenix Femme asked us before we left, what is a habit you have picked up from each other while playing games together?
Rolling on random tables to get things. I picked that up from Jen. And making your players roll so anything that happens is their fault. I'm kidding. But I do like when my players feel like they, as a player, not only as a character, had an effect on the outcome of things. So I think I picked that up from Jen and from you, Sarah. Let's see. I picked up.
She picked up my
What's
sick
the right
burns.
word? Sick burns. Yeah, sick burns. I think you've really affected my storytelling because she has a degree in English journalism, writing, something of that
Yeah,
kind.
creative writing with a focus on editing and journalism, but a lot of
Yeah.
storytelling.
And I think you've really helped me kind of like, especially when I was starting, you helped me kind of like get concise and figure out what the main plot of things were and how to kind of like incorporate things properly. And I picked that up from you and kind of went with it. And there are certain things I do when I'm creating a story that came from you, that's have helped me kind of like, okay, what am I gonna do here? What is the core concept? Kind of like building it from the inside out. That has really helped me create stories in a way better sense that can relate to players and viewers and stuff like that. So it's different because it's like from Sarah has been prepping, from Jen has been like just embracing improv. So it's very different from the two of you that I picked up.
I'd say.
And from RJ, it's just creating weird shit, and I fucking love it.
RJ creates the best. Like, I asked him for a bubble gun as a joke, and he actually created a bubble gun for my character in his homebrew world, and I adore it. He is so damn creative. Oh, everyone should dab now. We'll do it. There's your dab. I put. Normally we don't have these channel rewards up. These are normally my game day rewards, but I thought, you know what, YOLO. Yeah. For me, from both of you, it's I've learned a lot about improv and being a good improver within the context of a story, and learning how to do the yes and or the no but in ways that still move stories forward, that don't stagnate, that still provide a lot of meaning and insight to what is happening. And I think I've learned that from both of you. Jen, I've learned so much about creating worlds because I have sat and I have created entire communities with you. I'm now my second one with you with the Shatterkai. And that was a fascinating experience, and it didn't go how I thought it would in my head. And Satan just helps me think of characters in just new and different ways, in ways that I wouldn't think to create a character. And it is a joy every time I sit down and you give me ideas out of left field for characters, and I just then run with them. I think you've influenced my character creation a lot, as far as
what I
make. Yeah, that's.
That makes me happy.
And they're just neat people. So you know, I just
neat people. Yeah,
I just think you're neat. I have goldfish.
I'm all right.
I would say from Sarah, it's adapting how I present things visually, because well, I am conscious of it. I'm not always proactive about it, and that's on me. But Sarah has kept me in line, and like I need to do this because it's accommodating my player and it
Hmm.
further provides enjoyment to them. So I want to give that to them.
Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know,
And
I discovered in quarantine when I no longer had the coping mechanisms that I normally had that I have ADHD. I've talked to my family about. I was diagnosed as a kid, but and they did recommend medication for me, but my mom didn't put me on it. So Satan has been a big help in me figuring out uh, how ADHD affects me, especially in games. And Jen has been wonderful in accommodating that. And that's what she's talking about. Is I need a when things are getting chaotic, like a large battle or a puzzle, I have to have the visual because my brain can't process the words without reading them 1,000 times if I don't have the visual. Um, so yeah, thank you for doing that. I appreciate that. That's not something that everyone is
and
willing to give me.
no, as a
Mm-hmm.
person with ADHD, a learning disability, and various imposter syndromes, it's important to have those tools
Mm-hmm.
in place because it's the little things that make us go yards and miles from where we were to be the better person. And I want to be that accommodating person because I would have liked those things as
Mm-hmm.
a student growing up without those tools in place. And I like those tools in place for my players because it's a way to help them understand the material, makes me able to give out information quickly without having to repeat it. Of course, if they want it repeated, I will repeat it, but if I don't need to, or if there's something there that they're confidently able just to see or hear, I will provide it for them. I'm
Mm-hmm.
happy to accommodate that space because it's an important space to provide as a person who wishes that space was more readily acceptable and available in various games, not just D&D or our games. Like I'm happy with what we have.
I
Like that's
Yeah.
fine for me.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest way in which both of you have influenced me, and I think it's why what led me to be on the journey to make everything about my space on the internet more accessible. I can't tell you the number of hours I sat on a call uh, with Satan looking at different channels and their overlays and how they were using closed captioning, how their fonts were working, we had these really intense, deep discussions, pulling up different things of what worked and what didn't, and um, what would make all because Satan does all of my overlays except for my game day overlay. She is working as hard can be. She threw this overlay to get today together for us in a matter of like maybe 10 minutes. But she works so hard to research fonts to make sure that they're readable, to make sure that our background doesn't overpower our fonts, to make sure that we have adequate space for our closed captioning, to make sure that it is accessible as possible for people who want to be here and want to be a part of this experience with us. And I can't tell you the amount of research that all three of us did to make things like this happen. So thank you guys for opening my eyes with my own ADHD and also with what other people in the world need. That really doesn't take once you find the resources, once you know the basics, it's not that difficult to set things up like what we have here. And I credit you guys with helping me make that change to every aspect of what I do. Sarah's is Satan beaming more than
Satan's
oh no, this is
uh,
Satan's usual
Satan's
level of awesome.
influenced
Yeah.
me. Yeah. Uh,
Thank
Satan, you influenced me to examine cultural barriers a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would like to say I'm good about it, but I'm not perfect about it, and I need constant improvement. I think that's something that I can always improve upon. And you offered aspects and other worldviews that I want to put into games, and put into Ashenfeld, particularly. Like, yes, no, it doesn't have to be what was, it can be something better. And you've pushed that envelope for me, and I was like, yes, this is how it's going to be because my players want it to be this way. So I'm going to do it.
That
And
makes me so happy.
this makes me happy because our world is only better and richer because of these barriers being brought down and broken because of the influences around us. And give credit to RJ for making me re-examine how I do battles. I have to be a bit more tactical with you guys because you guys are so wildly creative in and out of combat that I am constantly not sure how battles are going to go anymore. I'm just curious and enjoying the moment of like, what will they do next? What curveball are they going to throw at me? And that, for me as a DM, is creatively empowering because it's awesome to see. It makes me like, huh, you paralyzed the one person that could have countered spell or dismissed the world well you put down. He can't act because he has no verbal or somatic components to counteract this. All right, this is good. This is a chance I didn't predict.
We said we
And
gotta
it's
go,
good.
and no one's gonna stop us.
Yeah.
I gotta
And
go.
it
My
makes
mom's
me
calling me.
happy to.
I think I left my
Yeah.
stove on.
Yeah, it just makes me happy to have these tactics be turned on me as a DM, and that's always really exhilarating for myself.
I really love throwing you curveballs. Like, we had this one puzzle that Jen gave us where you had to do something very specific to blow out all of these magical candles. And my ding dong of a barbarian just walked up and set her shield down on top of all the candles, stuffing them out all at once. And the look on your face, like, I wish that game was streamed because the look of amusement on your face when I did that, and you're like, yep, simple solution wins.
And if the solution is not provided, but another solution is creatively given, it's okay to go with the unprovided solution. And I'm really okay with that because it's creative, it's innovative, and not what I expected. And my players often do that to me, and I love it. And I hope Anthony does stupid things and brilliant things and
Already
great
done
things
stupid,
and
We
brilliant
know he does
things.
stupid things.
oh yeah, he only tries to cause the apocalypse every other day.
Oh boy.
Yeah. But
But
speaking of characters, I would like to ask you guys some questions about your characters.
all right.
I have pulled up a list of questions that Sarah found, and I want the people to know more about your characters. So we're gonna go through them, and I want you both to answer them. You know what? We're not gonna go in order. Someone, Sarah, roll me a d20.
I don't have. Oh gosh, I don't even have D&D Beyond pulled up right now. Hang on.
Figure it out. Improv. Yes, and baby.
Yes, and give
Figure
me
it out.
1 second.
Figure it out.
I packed up all my physical dice yesterday. For anyone who doesn't know, I'm in the process of moving, so I am digital only right now. I feel naked without all my dice on my desk. Um, that's a 3. Thank you. It's never
A
been easier with
3.
D&D Beyond.
I think this one is can be has been answered, but like it's did they grow up nurtured or neglected? I think you all both of your answers actually go a little bit further than that, knowing your character's backstory. But please, since Sarah, you rolled you have character names. I'm going to call you by character names. Anthony, you answer.
All right, I'll answer. And Anthony went through multitudes of growing up. He wasn't the rich nobleman you got to meet him as. He was quite a poor farmer. He was a a sheep herder. While his family didn't have much, his parents did love him. His father was strict and commanding, his mother even more so, which gave way to their merchant life. And they grew up, and the demands and demands from the parents relaxed as they were able to provide a bit more. And I would say Anthony had a very nurturing life, but only towards his later years when he was in his teenage years. Not that it says nur- that his poor upbringing wasn't nurturing, it was very nurturing. He was able to have more of a well-rounded education, well-rounded life later in his life.
I like that. I like the different stages of growing up that he has gone through. Um, the different ways one can be nurtured or neglected in different parts of your life. And I like the different ways he encompasses that in his attitude and the way he's being. I mean, right now he's growing up another third, fourth time. I would like to say uh, confidently. But what about Lucy?
Well, Lucy, for new viewers of the show who are just getting to know Lucy for the first time, Lucy doesn't remember her life prior to the age of 9. Um, she was. We have learned that she in game that she was taken from the Feywild by a slave trader. She is a changeling, and she was essentially sold to a criminal organization, which in some aspects caused her to, like Anthony, grow up fast, but also stunted her growth because there was a lot of trauma in that experience. So anyone who goes through a lot of trauma, they basically get frozen psychologically at the age that they are when the trauma is occurring, which is why when Lucy first meets the party, she was incredibly immature. She was incredibly selfish. She had very inappropriate anger responses because her life up until then had all been about self-preservation. And we still see a little bit of that in her now because she is deconstructing all of those issues from her past, most recently with having failed on the job. Failure on the job meant she got physically punished in her previous life. But obviously, working for the Lady of Twilight, that's not going to happen, but it doesn't change what was in her head and that she was scared coming back to court, having to face a failure. Um, which we saw as a physical manifestation this time around with her hair when she's scared or feeling a strong negative emotion goes completely white. Um, okay, a lot of times it's just part of her hair, but in this time it was such a major issue for her that it was her whole hair. So she has been growing the most um, maturity wise with the party and her current found family. Um, she's been nurtured by Anthony a lot, just giving this dumb kid some space, letting her come to him when she wants to, when she's ready. Um, her her patron has been more of the authoritarian parent, saying no a lot and not giving in to Lucy's every whim, but also explaining why there's a no, which she's never gotten before. And then we have her love interest, Jack, who doesn't necessarily push her to change. He sees the things about her and about her past and how she has had to survive, and that's just a part of who she is. And he supports her in who she is now and how she is changing. Um, and I think all of her growth has come in the most recent story arcs as well. Um, it's been an interesting journey. I think I answered the question. I don't know. I could talk about Lucy and her growth for days.
I think you did. I think you did, and I think I'm very curious to see how she's going to keep growing. To be honest, how both of you are going to keep growing. Um, but I think you both answered that question beautifully, and even to an extra extent. Jed, roll me d20.
16.
16. Ooh, I like this one. Okay, what past act are they most ashamed of? Sarah, you go first now.
Oh gosh. I'm trying to think of what Lucy's done in the past. I don't think it's necessarily a specific act, but I think she's ashamed of who she had to be in the past to an extent. Because we've seen moments throughout the game. Um, the most prevalent one is when she and the party captured the slave trader, and she stepped into her old life again and realized how much she herself had changed and that she could not be that person anymore. And I think she carries a lot of guilt over what she had to be at a point in her life to survive, and feels a lot of guilt over the things that she had to do. She also feels really guilty because one time she said something to Anthony and it was about like not having a family, and he was like, well, and he got sad about it. But I think like the bigger sense of guilt definitely comes from her past and just who she had to be, honestly.
Yeah. I am so ready to explore that with her.
Yeah.
God, I'm so scared to explore that with her.
But you... Oh, don't worry. It'll be fine.
It's fine. I've said it time and time again. This is not a character I would play with any other table. This is definitely a character for people that I trust to be playing with.
Don't worry, I'm not breaking her. She's flexible.
Get out! Get out of my call! I'm kicking you out.
No.
Roll a d20. Take your psychic damage.
Anthony, what past act is Anthony most ashamed of? I think I know the one that you wrote down, but I want to know. I want to know more. Please tell us the one that we all know, because I would like the audience to hear.
The one that's been explored has been the one where Anthony was ill-equipped and ill-formed and was ambushed and lost the majority of his company during his military times. And that act was exceptionally shameful to him because it brought a lot of fear to him, something he was told he should not have because he was one way. And he's never been able to get past that PTSD as a person because it was a loss so tremendous that it formed a very reactive fear in his life, and it shaped him as an individual. And he didn't get the things he wanted. He didn't advance because of it. And he was stuck in this moment because this ambush ruined his life and he had no control. A person who was very controlling in his life over things he wanted or accepted suddenly just didn't have it, and it hurt. It ruined him. It altered his mentality to such a degree that he became very shameful.
Is that why he acts as more of a protector than a traditional angry barbarian? Because of that experience?
And it was largely that I chose that particular barbarian for him. It was the ancestral barbarian, and it has a lot of protective qualities within that subclass. And I thought this best fits the trauma response he's going through because he never wants that to happen again. And he can't have it happen again because it would break him. And he just wouldn't be able to cope. Anthony's such a dynamic person within that trauma that he's just only able to respond to that pain in such a way that it paralyzes him to a degree where he can't act and it bothers him. It was also a branch from real world work I was doing and am doing at the time, responding to trauma, PTSD out of Syrian refugees who come to Scotland. And I was exploring that trauma as like, this is how stories are told, how they tell their trauma is through stories. And not to diminish the Syrian refugees, I wanted to explore like this is how we can address trauma, how we can address PTSD is through storytelling. And I wanted to explore that aspect with Anthony.
I love my little fucked up babies. You guys are great. And I'm so happy you guys trust me with your characters like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm only sharpening some knives.
It's fine.
Roll me a d20, Sarah.
Oh, it's never been easier with D&D Beyond. Oh, that's 2 d20s. I just want one. Thank you. Oh, I rolled a 16. Do you want me to reroll?
Yeah.
I think that's what Jen rolled.
Yeah, I rolled a 16.
5.
5.
That's my lucky
You know,
number.
that was actually the question I wanted, because I think it's a great turnaround from what we just answered. What is their greatest achievement? So, Jen, what is Anthony's greatest achievement?
Lucy and Soon and Vanor are his greatest achievements because they made him a better person than he was. It brought him from that edge of darkness he was willing and ready to step into, and they brought him back from it. And yeah, his greatest achievements are them.
Would you say that his greatest achievement is being a husband and father?
Yeah, that's what's his greatest achievement. But he's not willing to step into that darkness now. He's willing to stay within the lighter side of things because he has something to live for now.
Mm-hmm.
I think Lucy, character growth wise, I think her greatest achievement is learning to love again via not just Jack, because that has been a sort of romantic love for the character, but learning to love the people in her lives, and learning to trust. She has come a great deal farther than I thought she ever would. Also stepping away from her own darkness, to trusting the characters, from being afraid to tell them that she's a changeling, to just, she's changing her hair color every single day that she's at court now. Like, she is growing into being comfortable with herself because of them. I think her most impactful decision within the world has been her work with the Lady of Twilight to provide a safe space for victims of the life that she was also in, as well as other, various people that they meet along the way that need a place to go. I think her creating that program with her patron will have resounding and lasting effects for many people that she may also never meet, because she has given the ability for others to send people on that path. And I think she doesn't even realize herself what an impact her life has had on the world, because I know the character doesn't think much of herself, even still. She talks a big game, but I don't think she realizes how much she has done good in the world. And I think that's one of her greatest accomplishments so far, even if she doesn't realize it.
I love you guys.
I love you.
Okay, Jen, roll me a d20 before I cry.
20.
20. There's no 20, so you're gonna have to roll again. There's only 19. I didn't have a d19, so.
Oh.
12. Oh, sorry, I didn't. What is their best childhood memory?
Lucy doesn't have any. This one's all Jen.
The childhood, no, the childhood that Lucy had, the what she remembers, what she experienced. But we know that there's a lot of trauma, there's a lot of bad. But in that bad, is there one memory, one good point of light that to her is just still a happy feeling?
Let me think about that. Jen, you go first.
Okay, Jen, you go first.
Oh, probably either the birth of Thorny Boy, his old goat that he absolutely adores, or his siblings, Mickelson and Tessa. He he depended on his siblings a lot as a child, as you know, you really shouldn't go out as a herding boy alone with a bunch of sheep, and they helped him. He respects the rebellious phases of his siblings, but stayed away from it himself until his later years. And Bunny Boy was just somebody he could constantly depend on, especially when wolves or bears came around. Bunny Boy was the first thing to alert him to it.
He's a ballsy goat.
He's a ballsy goat, and I love him.
Sheep.
Nope, he's a goat.
He's a goat. I don't know.
He's a goat. Because goats and I think it was Pakistani culture were more alert and aware of predators than sheep were, and sheep would follow goats, and they're basically the pack leaders, and I really like that concept. So I'm like, and I like goats. Goats are weird, and they're my type of weird.
Yeah, I don't think Cece's picking up when I say goat.
Goat.
It says go.
Yeah. This is biased only because I have a slight accent. Do you need more time to think about your answer?
No, I know it is. It's Lucy never doesn't know her birthday. She's never experienced a true birthday party prior to meeting the group. We did go to a child's birthday party, but that's still like her only context for what that is. Prior to that, the happiest times that she had in her previous life was when a girl she grew up with and later fell in love with, Annie, knew her birthday because she was basically just sold to this organization by her own family. Annie would steal a treat and sneak Lucy out of her room, which was essentially a cell, and they would sneak up to the roof and eat whatever the treat was or play with whatever the treat was. And those are really the only memories from Lucy's quote unquote childhood that she has that are truly happy that she cherished.
Love it. Now, roll me a d20.
Yes, ma'am.
Help me a d20? I said roll me a d20. I think I have to use my customer service voice for it to... See? Look, what the... Edit my knife? What the fuck?
I rolled a 3.
Reroll, because that's the first thing you rolled, I think. Yeah.
Wow, D&D Beyond algorithm. Get your shit together. 7. Have we done 7?
No.
No. What is the worst thing they did to someone they loved? I'll let you guys pick who goes first.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, that's easy for Anthony. Telling Lucy, at least I have family. That was
That was
really
a rough
cruel
episode.
on his part.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys. I was just putting on my lipstick throughout that episode.
It was really cruel of him, and he's hated himself ever since.
She said she got in a fight with Annie the night Annie died, and Annie went off, and she said some pretty awful things. So I don't. I think that would probably be it. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think that would be it for her. It's definitely a situation from her past that she regrets. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, RJ, Lenny is a good boy.
Len is a very good boy.
Lenny's good boy.
Lenny's a good boy.
Um, roll me a d20, Jen.
Did we do 14?
I don't think so. Did they have an imaginary childhood best friend?
Anthony's father is a warlock. So yes, Anthony had a pretend friend that was very much a real friend, and he just didn't know it.
Who was his friend? Was it his dad's patron?
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Joaquin?
That's honestly really precious.
Manifestation of probably one of Joaquin's angels, as Joaquin herself would be a patron, as she is a goddess.
Mm-hmm.
Probably one of the angels.
That makes sense. I love it. What about Lucy? Does she have an imaginary childhood best friend, or was that not enough time for that?
I think she lived in a fantasy world in the sense of there was a cook where she was an older criminal who who physically could no longer do the jobs but was still useful because they could cook for whoever was in the building, and she used to tell the stories that Lucy and Annie and the other young children that were brought in would sit and listen to at dinner time, mostly as a way to get them to sit down and eat quietly and get them in and out as quickly as possible. But I think she latched on to some of those stories and lived in that fantasy world, because her whole her preferred human face is based off of one of the women in those stories, who is a very strong female character, and I think she turned herself into her own imaginary friend in a way to cope and then just deal with life. I think she kind of escaped into it the way like other people escape into like a TTRPG. Like she just became the character. She's like the best cosplayer.
I'm also glad we established what kind of warlock Anthony's dad is right now, because we've never established that. Celestial warlock. Got it. Love it.
Got it.
Am I rolling next?
Sarah.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm liking this. This is fun.
I gotta re-iron my local cryptid
13?
patch. It's coming off.
We did that one, right?
13? No, we did 12, which is best childhood memory. What is the worst childhood memory?
God, Lucy's entire childhood.
Just the entire thing.
Just the entire thing. Everything except for Annie.
Probably when Mickelson fell into the river and Anthony couldn't pull him out. I think that was his worst childhood memory. I think that kind of sent him on the path of protector when he couldn't do something and he wanted to do something.
Baby brother.
Mm-hmm.
Does your answer still stand as all the entire childhood?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. I mean, Lucy lived in hell for 12 years of her life. I don't think it wasn't enjoyable. It wasn't a pleasant experience. It wasn't a mundane experience, that's for sure. But I think that if she could block out those 12 years of time, I think she would, hands down.
Sad characters. I like to think that of RJ where he's like, he's just Lynn had just a happy childhood. I don't know what the fuck
RJ
you guys
says-
are talking about.
RJ's actually in chat. He says going to the hospital for any amount of time. That
For
tracks.
Len. I'm glad that
Sweet
we are getting his answers through the chat. I'm gonna start just picking them now. Let's see. I had one and I lost it. Where is it?
Don't you hate that when you're in an article and you're like, I had this thing, and then it refreshed, and now I can't find it? That's like me every time I open up Twitter and I want to like something, but then the feed refreshes.
What? Fuck! I have dyslexia. If anyone didn't know that. Let's go with this one. What advice would they give to their younger self?
It sounds so cliche, but Lucy would. It gets better. You don't believe me, but it gets better. Keep going.
Probably the impossible isn't too far from reach. One step at a time.
I like them. Nice and concise and effective.
They'd fit well in a fortune cookie.
It does.
RJ tinnitus. It gets a lot worse.
It gets a lot worse.
Oh, poor Titus. Our resident sad boy.
Oh no, baby boy. Let's see. When was the last time they were crushed with disappointment?
Our most recent job.
Crushed with disappointment. Honestly, he's probably very disappointed in the general. He looked up to that man quite a bit in his military years, and seeing him fall so low really disappointed Anthony.
This is an anti-military propaganda show.
Very much so. Yeah, I think Lucy's is definitely it's a toss up because they were both very emotional instances for her, but I think it's either her most recent failure in being a failure for the first time was a major disappointment to her because she's always been on top, and I think before that it was hearing what Anthony said in that Fae cabin. Because she didn't say anything to anyone in there that she hadn't said without the influence of magic, and a lot of stuff got dropped on her, and she was very disappointed for how she was being seen by someone she admired. Len, when
Take
Fibble
that,
died.
Uno card. Hit the
RJ.
reverse on Anthony.
Oh no.
When Fibble died. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She's
When
out there
Fibble,
somewhere.
yeah, when Fibble died. Yeah.
Wings just stabbed me in the heart. And
Oh,
Listen.
Danae Keener,
the dagger
DanaeKeener.com.
there.
Amazing. I would like to interject something I didn't mention. I think on Sunday nights I play around with the Frost Maiden, DM by the amazing Danae Keener, DanaeKeener.com. And just the times I've dungeon inspector her in that game have thrown her for a loop. How, because it's a module, so again, we're out in the lost in the snowy tundra of Icelanddale. They're like, oh, you see goblins scavenging, and your option is to go and kill them. That's what they expect you to do. So I was like, hi there. So we started a whole conversation with these goblins, and they're Australian, by the way. And we have friends now that are goblins. And I there was an awakened sea monster, and I fell into the water as my character. Uh, and then I saw it. I was just like, I just waved at it, and now we have a sea monster called Friend. Sea monster friend called Friend. Uh,
Archie says they're from the Down
they
Under
are from the Down
Dark.
Underdark.
I can't do an Australian accent.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I tried.
She has. I would like to. I would like to think it's quote unquote complain. Okay. Listen, it's fine. But go back to the character questions. Because we did we did what past out there most ashamed of, but did we do what past out there most proud of? Do that one?
No, we haven't done that one. Creating soon. That's his most. I think that's the action he's proudest of in the past because it's something that he's working towards a future for.
I like that. Oh god, excuse me.
For Lucy.
You gotta tell Softfire that one, RJ.
Again, Lucy doesn't have the emotional maturity to realize any of this yet, but I think it's I think what she will later in life be proud of is the moment she chose to trust Fanor and Anthony when they first took her to the court. Because that was a big leap in trust. You were asking her to go to a totally different plane. And Fanor she trusted in Fanor that it would be a safe space for her, and she trusted in Anthony when he said that he wouldn't let anything bad happen to her. And I think that first major moment of trust for her is something that she'll look back on and be proud of because of what it all led to.
Mm-hmm. For Len, it was getting their PhD.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Len. Medicine is a wisdom check. Yeah. Let's see. Whew. I guess we're gonna stick with these until we get them out, and then maybe look at some more. This is like, I feel like this is like a truth or dare girls' night sleepover question, but like, what was their first kiss like?
Confusing and disappointing.
That's very much what most first kisses are like.
Lucy got drunk and kissed Annie on a dare.
So drunk is what their first kiss is like.
It wasn't good. She got better.
Archie, shut up. No.
No.
I can't wait to screen cap and highlight all these things that RJ's talking about with us in chat.
Yeah. Has anyone ever saved their life?
Well, Anthony's our resident damsel in distress.
Yeah. Like, he's dying. Yeah, I mean, he's been saved by so many people, so yes.
Yeah, I think she hasn't gone. I don't think she's gone down to 0 since Len has joined the party. But I know there was an adventure that uh, Lucy and Anthony were on together. It was the oh gosh, what was it? It was the Fae Fair. Lucy hit 0, and she was Anthony got a potion in her pretty quick. There's another time where Satan almost perma killed her. She was 1 point off from what would have been required.
Fine.
Yeah, the party brought her back. So yeah, her party saved her life a few times.
The dice tell the story. I could have given you 66 lightning damage, and I said, no, that's the average. Let that against me. Let me roll. Then I rolled 65. So you're very welcome for that decision I
You're welcome.
took.
You're welcome. Yep. You know, and I don't say it like it's a bad thing. I just remember in that moment just being like, you almost perma killed me, and your face just being like,
yeah.
I what?
Oh shit. Artie says to an extent Jack did, because Jack did help with the harness that he is wearing. He helped with that, I believe. Is that what we're talking about, RJ? If not, I don't remember what else. But yeah, okay, I was right. I was like, am I getting my lore mixed up? Let's see. Let's do some favorites. Let's see. Yeah. Sarah in the back.
Sorry, I was covering my mouth.
I thought you had a question.
No. I was trying to be coy about it. I think this is very much up to interpretation, but what is the most beautiful thing they've ever seen? Jack. I'm not talking about physically. I'm talking about yeah, RJ St. Navarre. No, I let Jack and his the way the things that he creates, because he's a very different artificer from Anthony. And he's very different from other artificers that Lucy would have come in contact with. He creates things for his own personal enjoyment. And in the bonus session that we have with Jack, you see one of the most amazing things he has created yet that hasn't come into our main game yet. But Lucy is constantly... It's very hard. When you have a smartass character, it's very hard to stun them into silence, but he regularly, when it's him and Lucy alone, he regularly has her flabbergasted with what he's created. So I'd say Jack and his creations. He's also nice to look at.
I love my.
We're getting character art. You guys are gonna see him real soon.
He's very handsome. I love Jackie Boy so much. He's my. When you guys took him to core, I'm like, look at that! You took a perfectly fucking like growing up artificer. You gave him anxiety. He already had anxiety. What am I talking about? What about Anthony?
Probably when Soon solved his first puzzle. Because it was something he didn't anticipate nor expected, and it gave way to possibilities unknown, and that sparked something really purposely driven, and Anthony was amazed by it because he didn't know what to expect with Soon.
Wasn't it Fanner that gave Soon their first puzzle?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And having Fanor and Soon being in that moment was a big revelation for Anthony, realizing he could do something beautiful in a world he helped corrupt. So it turned him into a path he didn't expect.
I love how deep the Anthony and Fanor lore goes. And we've just touched the tip of the iceberg in game.
It goes real deep. No pun intended or innuendo in there.
Exclamation point pun damage.
It's funny
please,
because
in chat.
no, I mean that as I didn't mean it as a pun. Actually, the first time I actually say no pun intended, I actually mean it. It's
Also,
been really interesting exploring that.
I did that while we've been sitting here because I saw Chris Khan put it in chat. So you're welcome, chat.
Jesus Christ!
Oh no, it gave invalid numbers. I need to fix it. Hang on. I'm not good at bots. RJ's good at bots. I should have had him do this. Let me see. Anyways, carry on.
We'll figure it out. I like that you, Jen, you said this is a character I've had in my past, in the present, and this is kind of like what they've been doing. So I'm like, and I created this man. He wasn't originally a fae. He was just an elf guy from the opposing military whatever the fuck you call it, party, who was a combat medic.
Yeah,
And,
it was
yeah.
it was something I wanted to see where it would go. I really do enjoy the enemies to lover stroke, but they were never really enemies. They were just kind of acquaintances that became more because Anthony always respected the medics. Like they're hard, their job is hard enough. Why would he want to fuck with that? He was conducting himself in a way like a medic's not gonna fuck with me, and I won't fuck with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like that aspect. And I think it explores some of Anthony's own prejudices that he had and was able to break away from, realizing it's not like this always, and it can be different if you're willing to understand and explore.
Yeah. You guys haven't. I don't think we have explored how they actually first met, other than they met in the war. So I'm excited for that to come out. For Lucy to learn about her dad's. Let's see. What place would they most like to visit in the world that we have created? I would say either someplace that you've already visited and you want to visit again, or someplace you haven't explored and you want to go to.
Lucy wants to keep going back to Dragonfly like every chance she gets with Jack. She really loves how magical that place is. She wants.
I think Dragonfly Lake both times we've talked about it has been in the extra episodes.
No, we talked about it in. Oh yeah. Go watch the extra episodes. It's really sweet. We touch on it in our second one.
But yeah, talk about it.
She wants to go back there with Jack every chance she gets. And she wants to. He's told her about a few places in their bonus time together. There's a city that is floating in the air that she wants to go see. Her patron has told her about a couple places that she wants to go explore. She really wants to get to know more about the court. She's looking for a way to be useful in some capacity there, because she knows that one way or another she can't always do what she's doing now. But yeah, she's had that phase Spider Silk farm in her mind ever since she talked to her patron about it, so I'm glad that we have a story hook that potentially sends us there. Yeah, RJ in chat, yeah, definitely never want to go to the Dread Isle again.
There's a lot more. You guys never did figure out what was flying out in the sky, and it wasn't the the
You
dragon
know what?
bitch thing.
Oh, the
That's
dragon.
fine.
Uh,
I think Anthony would really want to go to the Underdark because he's become part of a heritage that he wasn't previously a part of, and he wants to understand it better to accommodate that other half of him that's become part of his life, and he wants to understand culturally, socially, and government-wise what it means to be a drow,
Mhm.
what it means to be part of this culture, because he's embracing that part of himself that he didn't realize he would enjoy or suspected he would kind of be standoffish to, and realizes, no, this is great. I can see in the dark. I can be so much more. I can do so much more. I don't have to be this one way. I can embrace two cultures and still be me.
Lucy
mhm.
will gladly go
So
with him on
he
that
would
journey.
love to go in. Yeah.
Hmm.
He wants to go to the Underdark to see what it's like. He's understand it through language, but he doesn't understand it culturally, physically. And he never wants to go to Dread Island ever again. That was something he will regretfully say, yeah, no, that's fuck me.
Lucy would go back.
We're not gonna go there. We're not gonna touch that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. I I want to know this because this has been a quest for Lucy. So far, what are your favorite foods?
Oh gosh. So she has a favorite food that was just like the only thing that she could make, which is basically a grilled cheese sandwich with a slice of tomato in it, which is what the comfort food that she brought Anthony when he was in the cell in the dungeons, because that's the only thing she knew how to make, and it comforts her. Um, it's been determined based on I roll randomly when she tries new foods because she wasn't exposed to much culinary wise. Uh, she likes meat and potato dishes. Her current the thing that she craves when she's not at court is Jack's the stew that Jack makes.
Beef
Um,
stew.
yeah, just because there is some sentimental like Jack makes this type of a deal. Um, she really loves chocolates and sweets. She hates white chocolate. White chocolate is not real chocolate. But anything that's
Agreed.
sweet she'll eat. And she really
Ice
adores
cream.
yeah, ice cream. Ice cream she had for breakfast every single day when she and Jack were in Loomberry, and she was pretending to be the girl he ran away to, I think, Valais with. Uh, yeah, yeah.
He's not my boyfriend.
Ice
Go,
cream,
babe.
beef stew, uh, grilled cheese with a slice of tomato in it. Those are her faves so far.
What about
Scarlet Minotaur
Anthony?
is not food. Okay,
Oh,
Red Bull is.
Scarlet Minotaur is not food.
That's true, but
It's not
also
food.
make brain go zoom zoom.
No.
um, because he went through a body change, his taste buds changed. He went from very loving very spicy foods to loving more earthy foods, more sweet foods. He misses his curry now and then, but he doesn't
Banner
enjoy it
made
in the
some
same
mean
way.
curry.
Yeah, he's really sad that he's lost that palate that he really enjoyed, but he also really enjoys a lot of earthy, more very um, humble foods, I would call them, like really basic foods, like
Like
potato pies and stuff like that.
I would say kind of like homegrown food stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
mean, Fanta also makes some really mean like mushroom sauce.
Oh yeah. There's a
Tomato.
fantastic mushroom pate you have to try
Yeah.
when you come here. Oh yeah, Anthony would definitely
Fucking
fuck up my shepherd's pie.
pie.
He would love
Amazing.
it.
Um in my mind, Fae food is very we eat what the earth gives us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very much that. Um, so it's very earthy
Mm-hmm.
and just really
Robust
good.
flavors is what I was
Robust
thinking.
flavors, yes.
Robust flavors. Yeah, he went from this very spicy palette to a very robust palette.
Yes, let's see. What else? What is their perception of redemption?
Oh God, I don't know. Gosh.
This is a toughie.
I don't know that Lucy sees herself as redeemable. I don't think she understands that she is redeemable, or that there's a way to atone for what she had to do in the past.
Mm-hmm.
She's a character who talks a big game, who but it's all a facade. She is the I'm the hottest shit in the room outwardly, but internally she is still incredibly insecure and incredibly damaged. I don't think she knows or realizes that she is even on a redemption arc. Honestly, I don't think she's. I don't think she sees one for herself at all. Not yet. That may change.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. She already knows that Jack is too good for her.
That's totally
so.
fair. Trying to have that conversation with Jack.
Maybe that'll be our next bonus session.
First. That's gonna be an arc.
That needs to go dark side first. That's gonna be an
yeah.
arc. Oh no, we can't hurt Lenny. RJ, don't make me hurt Len. I'm just kidding. Let's do it.
Don't worry, that's my job. I'll hurt Len. What about Anthony?
Anthony has been redeemed several times over and knows it's very possible. He was redeemed with Gone when he was in a very low point in his life. He was redeemed with Fanor when he came from the corruption side, facing the goddess of corruption, angel corruption, what have you. He was redeemed, I would say, with Lucy, Tess, and Jack, his family, when facing this idea that he couldn't be something but was given the grace to be something. And it's both major and minor redemptions that Anthony finds himself thriving in and being better in, because he's allowed to stumble and fall now, but he's also allowed to get back up with people he loves and admires. So that's probably him still redeeming himself through constant actions, knowing he'll still fall, but is able to get back up.
God, I love these like deep answers so much.
These are the kinds of things, y'all, that we talk about off stream too. Like we have these conversations post game with one another.
God, yes. I like this. What would they ask the fortune teller?
Oh, Anthony wouldn't. That's not for him to know.
So he wouldn't ask anything of the fortune teller.
It's not a future he wants to know. If it's a future that he knows, he will make it a future that is possible. He would rather leave it to fate and possibility and chance rather than it's already set in motion.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of his aspect of letting go of the control he once had.
I like that. What about Lucy?
Lucy will ask, will my family be alright in the end? As long as the people that she loves and has grown to care about are okay in the end, to her she is that is her compass for whether or not she is doing the right thing. Because we've seen it already in her, where she has become very much the protector. Now that she has something she perceives as worth protecting, which is the party, which is her family who ceremoniously adopted her, who the Lady of Twilight, who has given her a path to having a purpose in life, her home that she has for the first time in her life. She will not let anything threaten any of those things, and she will fight against it time and time again to make sure that those things are safe and protected.
Love it. Love you guys. Oh no, I don't wanna. I'm not gonna ask that one. Let's see.
Chat, again, feel free to throw in any questions that you have for us about TTRPGs, our characters.
Yeah, we're just kind of
The best place to buy wigs.
throwing
We'll answer it
things
all.
out there. Oh,
Favorite dump stat? None of them, because dump stats don't exist. Dump stats, that's a dumb philosophy, in my opinion.
If I had to go minus a one, it's wisdom for me. I like playing unwise characters a lot. It's fun. I like playing really smart but very unwise characters.
Just to piss everyone off. Constitution.
Yeah.
That one's for all the grognards that might be watching us right now. Constitution.
I find that my dump stat tends to be intelligence. It's mostly for reason. Yeah, shut the fuck up. And I think this came to light more when I played. There was a character I played by Syria in Acquisitions Incorporated game, and her intelligence was 7. But I never played her like stupid. She had her things that she was smart about. She was an amazing poison maker, and she was really good at money because she was a gold digger. But in other situations, like she was charismatic because she was a bard, but like she was like emotionally stupid. I took that route, and I think there's so many routes you can take with intelligence rather than just book smart. Like she hadn't really known love. She didn't grow up like, it wasn't like a tragic backstory, but she grew up in a house. She worked her way up to being a great poison maker. That house had to marry into another house, so she was the one that married them. And she was like, well, if I she's not the great at planning either. She was like, well, if I marry them and then kill them, then all their stuff is mine. And that was her path to Black Widow Gold Digger, that she fell on and happily went on.
Yeah, I don't like it when I don't like looking at stats like because you have low intelligence you're dumb. I know that's something that a lot of people lean into and enjoy leaning into. I personally don't. I think stats. I think you can be intelligent in many different ways, just like people learn in many different ways. So barbarians may get intelligence as a dump stat, but they're going to be the best strategy-wise when it comes to fighting. Or, wizards may have a high intelligence score. They might be a little bookworm, but how do they do in social situations? Like, it's not just... And that's why I like with this game that we kind of go against stereotypes, because Lucy and Anthony's classes are typically played a certain way, and we don't do that. Lucy has severe ADHD, so she is a horrible wizard. She's very intelligent. We've established that she can do math in her head, that she doesn't know artificery, but she's corrected Anthony's equations a couple times on stream because of her mathematical abilities. But she can't sit down and learn a spell like all the other wizards do, uh, which is also getting touched on in our current bonus session. So if you'd like to come and hang out with us on Discord, links in chat and on your screen. But I really like that
I
we've
seeing
pivoted away from those sorts of things.
yeah, I've been seeing in the wild more and more artificer barbarians crop up. I'm like, that just makes me happy as a
It makes me
person
really happy
because
whenever people play a barbarian of any sort that isn't just
yeah,
dumb and hits things. It makes me really happy when
yeah,
I see that.
Whenever I make
it's
a barbarian, I don't. None of my barbarians are like your typical dumb barbarian. I
mhm.
just like big buff women.
We know.
Yeah, just like
Yeah,
them. They're just neat, you know?
Yeah.
I really enjoy the aspect of a smart barbarian. I really like that Anthony can be a smart barbarian. But yeah, I really like the aspect he can create as a artificer and have those two classes be joined at the hip and be
Mm-hmm.
like, you are this type of barbarian and this type of artificer, go. And it's fun.
It's been a really interesting multi-class to watch you play.
Hmm. I think they complement each other because the artillerist is what the barbarian lacks, and it's a long range and mobile aspect to
Mm-hmm.
what the barbarian can't be. A barbarian goes in and hits things as Tankfur. The artificer side of Anthony, it should be a backline, midline build, but I put two things that are midline, front line, back line kind of together, and you have Freya who goes in and acts on the bonus action, where Anthony can act on the action, and you have these two very explosive personalities, quite literally in Freya's case, in the
At
middle.
least Lucy's not the only thing that's set something on fire in the game.
Yeah.
I don't care how big the room is. I cast fireball.
Put her in a jail cell.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. I'm actually just getting into multi-classing in D&D
Mm-hmm.
because it's really hard for me to keep up with just features and traits that my character has, let alone two different class features and traits. But the one I'm really most excited to learn about is how it works is Jack, because he is an artificer and a fighter. But
Mm-hmm.
he's not an artillerist; he's an alchemist in artificery, and he's an eldritch knight and fighter. He's not. Is that my cat? I really hope that's my cat because something touched my foot. Uh, so I think you'll get to see him more in action in this little extra episode that we are recording. It's gonna be weird me fighting against myself. But I
Anthony's
also
actually my first multi-class. I've
yeah
never multi-classed before him.
I don't have an on-stream multi-class character or any character really.
I think Lucy's my first, but that was more for story because
Yeah.
being a wizard was such a challenge for her. Having getting magic via a patron is easier for her.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I've done a lot of one-off characters that are multi-classed, but not any in major campaigns. My oldest character Tana just multi-classed. She took a
Yeah.
level in cleric.
It's I think it's mostly just I don't do it because of the brain processing
Mm-hmm.
capacities that I have. But yeah, I'm gonna multi-class with Jack. Jesus Christ. At level 10, so that's gonna be
Mm-hmm.
interesting.
I'm excited to see how he works mechanically because I helped you with his initial
Bitch, me
multi-class
too.
build. So
Mhm.
I'm interested to
Yeah,
see that.
me too. I'm excited for him. I like this one. What is your character's kryptonite? And it doesn't have to be necessarily like in battle. It doesn't have to necessarily be in battle. I think just maybe personally, uh, what would their kryptonite be?
Snake
Book.
eyes.
Uh, oh hey GB.
GB,
GB.
thanks for the
Thanks for
raid.
the
Thank you for the
raid.
raid. I think Lucy's biggest weakness is also her biggest strength, which is her family. Because she will, we've seen it happen before. Well,
Oh my
she
god,
will
thanks.
throw herself between her family, her found family, and the dangers to make sure her found family can get healing or get help, support, pull them out of whatever they're in.
Mm-hmm.
And that when you're a wizard warlock who doesn't have as much HP as the tank who keeps getting damsel in distressed, and you go and you start punching on a Bahir, that can be
Jump.
bad
That's
very
what he's
quickly.
supposed to do.
Yeah. You weren't supposed to get swallowed by it though.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I think her biggest strength, which is her found family, is ultimately her biggest weakness as well because she has a blind spot where they're all concerned. And thank you for the raid, GB. We love you. Thank you for the biddies.
Love you.
Knowledge. Anthony's greatest kryptonite will always be knowledge.
I
Simply
know.
because he needs to understand the world around him because the world around him is so chaotic. He needs to bring a sense of order to it. And having been introduced to something that is chaos and having the concept there is order and chaos being brought to him while he was under the influence of the corruption made him want to know more, and it didn't diminish by any means. If anything, it got exasperated, but he's not explored that yet because he's trying to be cautious in the way that he's doesn't want to fall into a habit of this is going to get people around me killed. It's okay if I get hurt, but not if people around me are getting hurt. So he's trying to rein it in, but he's not being successful at it.
Lucy will find a
And
way
that's
to travel to the Hells
always.
to drag his ass back,
Yeah.
to kill
And
him
he
again,
knows
and then
that.
bring him back.
He understands that like his family and his found family will do that for him, but he doesn't want to stop this ever expanding understanding of the world and chaos and order through knowledge because it's important to him because he's doing something bigger than himself that he can't explain.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have enough time for one more question. We have 10 minutes. I like this one. What do they love to hate? Let me make sure I read that in the right order. Yeah, what do they love to hate?
Love to hate.
The other two changelings at court.
Royal Butterfield. The other two. Can you like explain that? I want to know more about that.
Mostly Shadow, not so much Echo. But when Lucy was tries to do her job, and Shadow gives her a lot of lip, she doesn't appreciate it to the point where she went to her patron once and was like, "Do you need to tell them to knock it off? I'm trying to work." She doesn't appreciate that, and I think in the back of her mind she sees them also as sort of competition because their role there is similar to what her role was previously. And she has a little bit of a complex with her accomplishments from her previous life. Uh, but yeah, just it's one of those things where there's just like there's a rivalry, like a just an unspoken rivalry on her end going on where she's keeping tallies, she's keeping score, even if the other party isn't.
You don't know.
Yeah, no, she that Shadow is just that person that she just rubs her the wrong way. Love to hate him. Satan's gonna make them my long lost twin or something.
Anthony really loves when you guys call him the Silver Fox or make fun of his age or like his curmudgeon ways. He'll express that he's like, no, I'm not. I'm not. You can't do that. But he loves it. He doesn't necessarily hate it, but he really enjoys that you guys have this. And he's just like, yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
That's me. I love it.
That definitely when Lucy and Anthony first met, especially, that was a way that Lucy tried to keep him off kilter. And I really enjoy the fact that it's just become a term of endearment over time as the party has grown together. I'm sure we'll come up with a term of endearment for Len as our permanent third in the group, but it's definitely it's one of those things that started out as semi-insulting, provoking, and has become.
It was meant to annoy him.
Yeah, it was meant to annoy him, but now he loves it.
Jokes
on
I don't you. Mind. I love it.
That is my silver fox. You will not die.
And maybe I will make them long lost twins. Who knows?
Anthony loves to hate Bryce, but in a very endearing way, because Anthony really does respect Bryce and what they do. But he enjoys the rivalry more than anything.
I don't think it's love to hate. I think it's love to annoy.
Yeah.
Is it also one of those like semi-rivalry type things?
Yeah.
Bryce?
It's a one-sided one.
Yeah.
Now Anthony sees Bryce as somebody he could be a rival to and enjoys that fact. Even if Bryce doesn't confront it, Anthony just really enjoys what Bryce does.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting how one-sided that is. Because, because you guys haven't explored Bryce too much, and I want to leave stuff for if and when you guys do. But they're very confident in what they do. It's very hard to get a chip on their shoulder.
And I think that's why Anthony likes them so much, is because it's hard to get something over them. And it's a challenge to Anthony, and he wants to be challenged, and he likes that challenge, even if it's just on his end.
Let's just hope you never piss Bryce off.
Oh, he's aiming to at this point.
Like, real piss him off? Okay,
no.
You can piss him off. You can fuck around and find out, Jen. And with that, we have 6 minutes left. Thank you, everyone that came to our impromptu Q&A and character talk. We will be back next week, hopefully, if all our internets work. We'll give a little wrap-up of the ball that our characters were in last week, and hopefully we'll see who this mysterious person was that was looking at Lucy. And then we'll see where the characters go to now. They have a few plot hooks that they can tug on. So it's up to them. And I'm excited to see where you guys go and how you throw me how you take me for a ride. That's the saying. How you take me for a ride. But with that, we're gonna do a cute little outro. Hi everyone, my name's Satan. My @ for Twitter's down there. But I think we're still gonna continue with our tradition here of talking about some charities that we back. For me, because this is a charity channel, we like to highlight these charities. For me, It is stopaapihate.org. They are an organization that works directly with victims of Asian American and Pacific Islander hate that's been rising up because due to COVID and lockdown and all that. And they work directly with victims, and as well as they have a lot of other resources to try and prevent them and help not only get the word out, but actually with resources. And as well, talking about resources, there is an anti-Asian violence resource page right there that you can catch up on news, ways to inform yourself, educate yourself, what to do when you see it happening, different ways to be allies, and to donate as well. But that is me, Gian.
Hi, I am Jen, and I champion the Alzheimer's Society in the UK. They are united against dementia. They provide support and aid to those who are experiencing dementia and Alzheimer's with family members. They provide online support and they provide a way to connect to organizations around the UK that provide information towards Alzheimer's and dementia. They are a charity and they are raising money to help cure this really quite difficult disease.
And last but not least, our lovely host and producer, Sarah.
I guess that just leaves me. Hey everybody, I'm Sarah. Welcome to my channel if this is your first time here. Raiders, welcome. We are excited to have you. You missed a wonderful Q&A session today where we talked about ourselves as players, TTRPGs, and our game that we play, Nexus Adventures. If you'd like to see any of that game that we just talked about, if you're interested in what we've talked about in this discussion, links in chat. You can go and find all of our past sessions of this game, as well as the other games on this channel on our YouTube. This is a charity channel, as Satan mentioned. I don't take any income from my channel whatsoever. Every time I get a Twitch payout, it goes to thetrevorproject.org. And last month we sent $173 to the Trevor Project as a community. So thank you everyone for your bits, your subs, your donations, whether they're affecting the gameplay or they're just coming in when I'm here playing video games with RJ, Matt, and Ryan. I appreciate you all so much for letting me do this. The TrevorProject.org provides crisis and counseling support to members of the LGBTQIA+ community, of which I am a member. And if you would like to know more about them, the link for that is in chat. Until then, I'm going to go ahead and throw up our Discord link. If you have any further questions for us, feel free to pop them in our Discord. We love you all. Don't forget, drink some water if you haven't had any water today. Hydration is important. Eat a healthy snack. If you haven't taken your meds yet today and you still need to, go ahead and take those. And most importantly, if there's someone important to you in your life that you haven't told that you love recently, tell the people important to you that you love them today. And we'll see y'all next time.
Thank you for all the follows, everyone.
Everybody, bye!
Bye.
We're clear.